So is Hugh Jackman done as Wolverine? It's a question which keeps plaguing Marvel. I say plaguing, I mean it's great PR for them. How amazing is the PR campaign to get behind all of this nonsense? So is Hugh Jackman done as Wolverine? Now, a few weeks back, he sent the internet a flutter because he shared an image of some concept art by Boss Logic, and then an image of himself with Kevin Feige. I mean, pretty understandable that people would go, okay, wow, god damn, maybe he is back. Maybe. Sadly not. Also he says. So let's take a look at this. And let's err on the side of caution on believing this completely, because money always talks. He could come back. You just don't know. But he spoke to Screen Rant and he said, it's in my past. I don't ever want people to feel like when I say I'm done, it's a glib thing. It was one of the great chapters of my life. Right. That statement to Screen Rant, particularly, you could probably say, yeah, he might rescind on that. Yeah, he might go back on that. Again, remember, he had some pretty... it looks quite positive here, doesn't it? It looks, there's some potential. It looks that way. But then he went and spoke further to Jake's Takes. And yeah, this stuff doesn't sound that great. Again, remember, he could still rescind on it. And, you know, we'll sort of touch on whether I think he would be good in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll discuss that as well, because I think that's really important. Now he says, well, the fact, Jake, that I'm hearing about this from you and there's nothing in my inbox from Kevin Feige means it's probably, no matter what idea I came up with, not on the table. Let's be clear there. And this was to do with all the rumours, which he started. But anyway, he says further, I realised before we shot Logan, and that's going to be the basis of whether I think he'll be good in the MCU, by the way. We got the idea. We knew what it was going to be, and I thought, this is it. And that really helped me. It really helped me to know I was going into my last season, when it was my last season, and I made the most of it. And it's still a character I hold close to my heart, but I know it's done. Tell that to whomever you want, but please tell it to Ryan Reynolds, because he doesn't believe it, and he thinks I'm joking. So, that is very obviously not that positive, is it? But it is good, you know, it's nice that he's putting it to bed. If it is true, remember, if it is true, it is nice that he's putting it to bed. I think that's important, because at the end of the day, if people are still thinking that he's going to come back as Wolverine, when they do eventually recast someone in the role of, you know, the character Wolverine, people are not going to handle it. People are not going to handle it very well anyway, despite the fact they didn't like Hugh Jackman initially as Wolverine. But people and their short-term memory forget all of that, much the same as Heath Ledger as the Joker. People didn't like that when that was first announced. But it is good that he's putting it to rest. Now, I think there's a discussion to be had here of whether, you know, he should come back as Wolverine for the MCU. Now, him as Wolverine, there are hopes and glimmers of positivity and promise throughout Fox's X-Men franchise, right? He's not the true Wolverine. Like, if you've read the comics and things like that, he's never really been the true Wolverine up until one film where he was close to the Wolverine. So, in terms of the character and how they sort of dumbed it down for Fox in general, he's a great Wolverine. Like, he is a good Wolverine. It's not true to form, true to the comics, but he's still a good Wolverine, and the name Hugh Jackman is now synonymous with the character. He is Wolverine. But I think if you're going to start to push forward into the MCU, right, and as much as there was promise in the Fox movies, the one which pushed over the edge and was like, this is it, this is great, it was Logan. Logan was a fantastic film. James Mangold, in fact, the guy who's doing the new Indiana Jones 5. Great film. Really, really good. And a great sort of crescendo, big send-off. It was the cherry on top for Hugh Jackman's career as that character, because there had been slow, fumbling starts and stops. And again, it's that promise that I was speaking about of the character actually appearing true to form. And it was that movie that got the closest to it. It wasn't 100%, but it was a bloody good film. I really, really have a lot of love for that film. I think it's a fantastic film. And I think ultimately, if you're going to start to push things forward into the MCU, with that as the last outing for Hugh Jackman, I think there's two things to consider here. Hugh Jackman is not going to appreciate the characterization of Wolverine in the MCU because he won't be able to do anything similar to what he did on the last outing. And as an actor, I'm sure he'll want to develop the character further, push the boundaries of the character, and bring something fresh. You know, it doesn't always have to be fresh, but to go from that, Logan, to something more MCU appropriate, I think he would really struggle. And I know there'll be a lot of people here saying, well, they'll probably make an R-rated. They wouldn't make an R-rated one. They just wouldn't. It'd be an X-Man, and that's it. So I think he's not going to want to come back, based on that alone anyway. But then there's also the other aspect, is quite literally, does that character now fit into the MCU when that's the one that we've just seen? I mean, it doesn't. I don't think we, you know, as people who enjoyed Hugh Jackman in the role of Wolverine, would like to see a dumbed down version now moving forwards. And make no mistake either, ladies and gents. Make no mistake that the MCU is going to want to hire someone who's younger than Hugh Jackman. I mean, he's like 50 plus now. Still in incredible shape, right? Can still get in incredible shape. But they're going to want to hire someone younger for the role because they're going to want someone on board for many years to come. And I doubt their first outing of the Wolverine would be Old Man Logan, unless, again, even though we sort of had Old Man Logan to a certain degree, unless it was Old Man Logan to then bring in Daphne Keene's, you know, what was it, X-23, I think that was the title of that character. Can't remember off the top of my head. If that was the approach that they took, that could work. But then you're still not having Wolverine back in the MCU, are you? You've got a different one. So there you go, ladies and gents. That's my 2 cents worth. This is the news. It doesn't sound like he's gonna. I mean, again, money talks. Things can still be rescinded. But it doesn't sound like it. It does sound like he's completely done. Putting rumours to bed saying, no, thank you, I am done. I mean, he literally says, I'm done. Right? I made the most out of it. But I know it's done. He is done. Literally says it. So let me know what you guys think though. I'd be keen to hear your thoughts, and if you disagree with any of the things that I've said, please do let me know down below in the comment section. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. You stayed this long, you clearly enjoyed the video, so hit that subscribe button and like button on your way out. Thank you all so much for watching there, guys. Take care.